What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's happening with the overall markets. Please note that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link. You deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. You deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15. Not to mention an 8.1% APY on uninvested cash for 3 months. The offer ends very soon, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, for the markets, guys, things are absolutely wild. Okay. So what happened was we got this data. The manufacturing numbers. The data was mixed. Some things were good, some things were not so good. It was just in the middle. And despite that, the market tanked like a rock. Now, we had a very, very bullish close on Friday. The market was pumping to all-time highs, looking very strong on the weekly charts. The monthly charts were looking pretty good. And what I was actually thinking that, we could have seen even more upside. But instead, what they did is they broke above the range that was here. Let me just show you the range in 1 second. They broke above our range and then they dumped it right below our range. So it's just pure manipulation from these market makers. With September historically being a more bearish month, it turns out that's how we've started off, and history is repeating itself once again. So you can see right here, they were breaking out of this resistance, trying to push us up higher, but we came just short of 565. And then we got this massive rejection. And instead of holding 556 in the range, they made us lose that. So now we're looking bearish. So it completely flipped in a very, very quick period of time. So the question is, what's going to happen from here? And the answer is, in my personal opinion, we need to try to reclaim 556. If 556 is not reclaimed by SPY, if we don't reclaim 556, we're going to most likely come down to fill this gap all the way down to about 543. So you want to be very, very mindful of that. Our support to watch for is at 550. If that fails us, we're looking for 546, our 50 EMA, followed by 543. And there's going to be even more downside if that fails. Resistance is going to be at 553, our 20 EMA, not to mention 556. So we got to try to get back above 556 and hold this. If we don't do that, we're going to likely dip. We look very bearish in the daily now that we lost 556, the range we were in. And keep in mind, guys, the market was very tricky in this range, going back and forth for so long. So we finally got a break. We broke to the upside, then we broke to the downside. So we're looking more bearish. We're currently looking more bearish. The market's not consistent. One day we could look like we're about to pump, the next day we could just dump. So it happens sometimes. We just have to accept it and be very adaptive. So now it looks like we're back to bearish, and we're going to likely fill this gap soon. We will see for confirmation if we lose 550 or if we fail to break above 556. But I'm just trying to say that we will most likely come down to fill that gap. We are looking more bearish now from a technical standpoint. Nvidia is also looking more bearish. Now, it's very interesting because Nvidia on the 4-hour time frame, it was holding its key support at the 200 EMA over the weekend. Last couple of days, it looked like it was trying to rebound. And what did they do today? They dumped it right under like crazy. So it just dumped 10% despite holding the support, just dumped. So now we have to adjust things. We're going to be looking for support at about 105, followed by 102. If those levels break, we're going to be looking for a dip all the way into the 90s for Nvidia. And this looks more bearish. I think it still could be dipping all the way down to the lower 100s. Looks more bearish. Bitcoin has support at 57,000. We'll see if that holds. Our resistance is going to be at 58,500. I'll be watching that very carefully. For ES, we are losing. We lost our key support. We're also below our 4-hour 200 EMA. We had this range we were in. So you could see ES was breaking out of the range from the upside. Then it dumped and broke it from the downside. And because we're below our 200 EMA on ES, we're at risk of coming all the way down to about the 5480s or so. So there's going to likely be more downside. Tesla was holding up very well, only to reject because of the markets. We're looking at 210 as support. If that fails us, we're going down to 208 or below. So watch and see if that holds. The QQQ is looking more bearish. We lost our 200 EMA. We're kind of rejecting right here. We need to reclaim 468 or else we're going to be tipping all the way down to about 458, if not 453. So I think we look more bearish on the QQQ, unfortunately. We could rebound a bit before we continue lower, but once again, technicals have flipped. Aapl has failed to hold 226. We're going to be looking for 218 as key support. Looks more bearish to me. The IWM was supposed to hold this trend line, right? But we actually lost it. So we were riding the trend line all day. Even on Friday, we were holding the trend line, and then today we open and we just dump. We just lose it. So that's pretty crazy. So with that being said, we're going to be looking at 212 as our supports. If that fails us, we have like a big gap to fill. That's a lot lower. Let me just double check where that gap was. we're going to likely fill the gap below if we lose 212. So we'll look at 212. If we hold that, we could bounce. If we lose that, we're going down to 208. For Coinbase, we could dip a little bit lower towards 162, excuse me, which is where we have this imbalance. Amazon could be dipping towards 175 and eventually 172. If that fails, we need to reclaim 178 to turn back up. We're kind of consolidating in this range. We are looking a little bit more bearish. Meta lost support. We're going to be looking for 505 as our next support, this yellow 50 EMA. That loses us from, if we lose that, excuse me, we're going down to about 500. Eventually, these much lower levels into the 490s. For Microsoft, we lost support. We weren't able to hold and break above 420. We're looking at support at 405. That fails us, just like others out there are going all the way down to about 400. This is where our gap support is right over here. So there is a risk of downside. Google is losing its 200 EMA. This is also tanking. So we're going to be looking at the support right over here around 156. So we'll see if that holds. If not, we will be dipping lower. So we still look more bearish on Google. But with that being said, guys, I just want to thank you all so much for listening. The market is wild. It's crazy. It could do abnormal things, but the best thing we could do is just adjust. And always remember to be adaptive no matter how crazy the market gets. Tomorrow we have the Joel's job openings report coming out at 10 o'clock a.m. tomorrow. So we'll see how things go. But for now, the charts do favor more downside. We'll see if we get a temporary bounce before we continue lower or not. But just keep that in the back of your guys' minds. The charts do suggest that there's more downside to come later on. Whether we get a small bounce first or not, downside is likely looking more imminent as long as the structure holds and this momentum remains. All right. So thank you for listening. The market could be crazy, but the best thing to do is to stay calm, cool, and collected, adjust, and to manage risks very well during crazy times like these. All right. I thank you for listening and peace out.